the final reveal. We are almost there. I'm not gonna say we've made it. I'm saying we're almost there.
Live your life within the moment. And don't go wait until the morning. You never know when it is over. All that I know is we'll get older. So let us dance this night away.
Good morning and welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are doing well and you are looking forward to this episode because finally, by the end of this video, we will have a full reveal of our powder room, and that just makes me so very excited. You guys know how much time and effort and hard work both Mark and I have put into this space, and knowing that the end is near just makes me the happiest. So after we wrapped up part 2 of this renovation, we continued working and we have installed most of the wood in the powder room, and it just looks phenomenal. And the only part that we have not placed the wood is right over here, and this is where our sink is going to go. So we're going to get a pedestal sink that will go right here. It actually will be delivered tomorrow, and then once it gets here, then we'll go ahead and figure out how we're going to install the wood around it. I didn't want to go ahead and place the wood over there not knowing how we were going to need to fix the sink to the wall. So that will wait until tomorrow, but for today I'm going to go ahead and get started with staining. So let me show you some of the stain options that I picked up. So I picked up a red mahogany, a provincial, a honey, and this is a mix. So the red mahogany, I was really hoping this was going to work because I don't want just a brown stain in here. I wanted there to be a little bit of a red kind of background to it. But then when I put this red mahogany onto the sample, I just realized it is just way too dark for the space. So these options I've actually used before, and I used them in the kitchen when Mark and I did our bookshelf and glass cabinet built in. And so I thought, because this space is so close to the kitchen, it's right off of it, maybe I would pull that wood color into the space as well. So here is the provincial, which I like. It is a little too brown for me and it doesn't have the red tint in it. So then I went ahead and did a sample of the honey, which I think might be a little too red. And so what I did in the kitchen and what I plan to do in this space as well is to mix these two, which gives me this color. And I think that this color is kind of exactly what I was looking for. So I'm gonna get that up on the walls today, and I'm really excited to see how the wood now starts to pop. So in addition to the staining, we are also going to trim out the space. And I'm gonna turn the camera around again just so that you guys can see a couple of the options that we have been thinking about, and then ultimately which one I have decided to go with. In the last video, we talked about if we were going to go ahead and put trim here underneath the window to hide the live edges of these boards. But after going back and forth, we decided that we were not going to add trim here and we're going to keep these as is, but we're going to go ahead and add trim everywhere else. So one of the options is the same shoe molding that we have down below. This is the size that we have down below, but we can also get it thicker, and we could put that right here to finish everything off. Could even maybe hang it off a little bit just to have a little bit more depth here. Not that we would lean art or anything onto this trim, but I just kind of like that it would hang over just a little bit to finish off that area. We also talked about going a lot thinner, and again having that hang off the side, but having a much thinner trim, and I actually kind of like how that looks. But then yesterday when I was at Home Depot, I found this trim, and I'll show it to you from the side here, and you can see how it has like this curve, and then it has a straight line that comes down. And there's just something about having that curved edge as the finishing touch on top that I think it just does it for me. I think this is the one that we're gonna go ahead and go with. It does have this kind of groove on the back. And what I was thinking is this is not big enough, unfortunately, to cover this entire space, but we do have a table saw that would be able to cut this groove a little bit wider. And if we did that, we could then set it there. It would cover all the way to the back of the wall. And then this curved edge here would cover all of this area here. Now, for the most part, all of the wood is the same height, but if you could just see, oh, I guess you can't see it over there. So if you could see just right here, there's just like a little lip. There's a piece of wood that's down a little further, that's a little lower than everything else. And I think by having this kind of hang over the side of the wood would just hide all of those little tiny imperfections. So while I was in Ohio last month visiting my family, we ended up doing a lot of thrift and antique shopping. It's one of the things that my mom and I love to do, my dad too. And so I knew that that was something that we were definitely going to do while I was at home. So we were in one thrift store, and of course I was in the kitchen area because if you guys have been following me for a long time, you know that I am obsessed with dishware and glassware and all things entertaining. And so I was in that area, and after I was finished with that area, we started to kind of meander around the rest of the store. And when I happened to see this piece, I originally told my mom to get it, but then I quickly realized that this would be something that would be amazing in the powder room. So here is the shelf, this brass and wood shelf. I love the little balls at the end. So you can see a little better of a picture. I'll go ahead and pop it up on screen here. Excuse my father, he was trying to be the star of the show at the moment. But this is just, when I saw it, I was like, this is going to be the absolute best shelf to go above the toilet. I can put my decor up here. I can put any necessities that we need for the space. And I knew that I was immediately going to buy it, especially when I saw that the price was only $10. Now, every time that I do thrift shopping, antique shopping, I do like to, and I've learned this from my friend Rosalind, take pictures of everything and then do a Google lens to see if I can find how much it is out in the world, whether somebody's reselling it, how much things are worth, whatever. I love to do that. And so when I got home, I took a picture of this and I put it into Google Lens, and look at the price of what this is selling for. Now, there's a part of me that wants to just go ahead and put this online to see if it will sell, but I think it's just going to be so genius in my bathroom. And if, you know, down the line I decided I want to sell it, or I need the money to buy something else, then maybe I'll put it online. But I think this is going to be epic in the powder room. So one thing that I want to do to this is I want to change out the color of the wood. It just isn't going to match the vibe. It's a little too yellow for me. And like I mentioned inside, I do want to keep it kind of more of like the browny reddish tones. So what I'm going to do, and I've done this before, is to use some oven off cleaner, and I'm just going to spray it on here. I think you allow it to wait, maybe sit for like 15-20 minutes, and then you rinse it off, allow it to dry. I think you do a little bit of dry brushing, and that should take off at least the varnish on top, and then hopefully some of the stain. And then I think that I'm going to go ahead and stain this the exact same color as the wood that we're going to do down below for the coved cuts. But yeah, I think this is just, I love, just absolutely love the brass. It has, like, you see the little hooks up there that will go into, hopefully we can either find studs or we can put mollies behind to hold this. But I absolutely love it. And I think for $10, this is a find. let's get to work. Well, the first coat is done and it is looking very, very good. I love it. I love the color. In fact, I'm obsessed with it. It looks really, really good in here. It is showing up a little bit darker than it is in person, but hopefully tomorrow when we come back in and we'll have the bright sunlight from the morning, you'll be able to see the true color, but it is looking really, really good. One thing that I did not anticipate doing today was using this paintbrush to place stain in between each board. Now, when we installed the boards, we had to put a little space in between for many reasons. The wall wasn't straight, the wall wasn't flat, the boards weren't all straight, the boards weren't all the same size. And so in order to make everything look nice and uniform, I originally wanted everything to be butt up right up against each other, but we did have to put spacers in between, which I actually really love, but I spent a lot of time today staining in between each and every one. But again, I think it looks fantastic and I couldn't be happier. So now I'm gonna go outside, check what Mark is doing. He was able to get the trim for me, so that's really great. And we're gonna work on trying to figure out how that's going to fit within this space. So let's go out into the garage and see how things are going. Yeah, that looks great.
Oops. Got a little cleanup down here, but we're good. We'll just
Yeah,
keep going.
that's gonna be great.
Yep, and then maybe a light sand.
Yep.
This little belt sander, just to.
Yeah. How do you do it? Okay.
If you could see my lips there.
Good job, babe.
Never
This
mind.
looks great. It's so good. So I just got home from the gym. I spent some time in the weight room and then I decided to spend like 20 minutes in the hot tub. You guys, my body is going through it. My shoulder is just aching so bad. I think it's because of just all of the sanding, the lifting, now the staining. My back is going through it. My chiropractor has told me the worst thing that I could do for my back, especially my lower back, is to sit on a hard floor. I love sitting on the floor. I don't know why, but because I've had to do all of the staining, I've had to sit a lot on the floor. And so this morning I just thought maybe if I got into a hot tub that will make things a little bit better, and it did. I do feel a lot better and I am ready to work. So the wood is looking amazing. The color is looking fantastic. And we have a lot of work to do today. So I would like to get a second coat of stain up on the walls. I want to work on the shelf that I showed you yesterday. The sink will be delivered today. Home Depot sent me a message that it is out for delivery. I have no idea what time it will be here. I'm hoping it will be earlier in the day, because once it gets here, we're gonna go ahead and install it over here in the corner, and then we'll go ahead and get the rest of the wood up, get that stained, and then I think today we're also going to try to install the toilet. Yes. And then finally the trim on top of all of the boards. That's a pretty hefty list. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get to it all today, but we certainly are going to try. I think the main thing is getting in the sink and then getting the rest of the boards up, because everything else is just kind of loading things in. So I'm going to finish my coffee. I got to check my work email. There's so much going on this week. I don't know how I'm fitting it all in, but I'm going to check my work email, finish my coffee, and then I will meet you guys either back in here to do some more staining, or I'll meet you out in the garage so we can work on the shelf that's going to go above the toilet. So I will see you guys in just a bit. Beautiful, babe. Okay.
Let me take a picture.
Okay.
Right?
All right, have a good one. Can you believe that the sink just arrived? It's almost 7 o'clock and it just got here. But clearly, I am not going to be touching that today because I need a drink. It has been a day. It has been a day and I need to just relax, get out of the house, change up the scenery, and I will see you guys in the morning. Tell me you're renovating a project without telling me you're renovating a project. Look at my fingernails. They're full of paint. Cheers. Good morning. So last night after I got home from having cocktails, which were delicious and greatly needed, Mark and I stayed up a little bit and did some work. We went ahead and took out the sink just so that we could see it. And we went ahead and placed it right over here. And it's looking really, really good. We don't have it installed quite yet, just because we're trying to figure out how that's actually going to happen and what we're going to need. So we'll work on that today. We also brought out all of the wood pieces that need to go over here in this corner so I can finish that out and get those all stained. Would you guys believe that I only had enough? Like, this board was the very last board that we had in the garage. If we had made any mistakes at all, we would not have enough. And we would have to go back to Lowe's to buy another board to cut it, to then have to cove cut it again and then sand it, all for one extra piece. So thank God we counted and recounted and recounted one last time, because we do have enough boards, and that just, that is a relief. So today is going to be getting the boards up on the wall. We have some cuts that we have to figure out. As you guys can see, we have the water supply that somehow we're going to have to figure out how to cut the wood around that. We also have the light switch and then also the outlet, and so we're going to have to figure out how to cut around those as well. Then I'm going to get everything stained. I also have to get the trim. The trim is all done and cut, but that also needs to be stained today. We have to fully install the sink. We have to install the toilet, and then from there, I think we'll be ready for all the pretty stuff. So it's going to be another busy day. So let's get to work. It just broke. You guys are not going to believe the luck that I just had. Look at this. Look at how this fits perfectly right there. What? How is that possible? I don't have to cut around it because the cove just perfectly cuts around it on its own. Oh, another small win today. I needed this. Wow. All right, let's go get cutting. The rest of this wood could just be done with a snap of a finger. Kind of like this. Much better. Well, things are looking a little different in here. It looks so good, so good. And the complete wall is finished. And I don't know, after hours and hours and hours and weeks working primarily just on this wall, that I am still smiling, but this is a smile of relief because it is done and it is stunning. I wish that you guys could be here in this space to feel it. Based on what it used to look like, it's just, I am so in love with it. So this has taken most of the day, per usual, but the next thing that we're going to do this evening, I'm going to take a break because I've literally been working nonstop, but we're going to go ahead and install the toilet and the sink, and I'm figuring you guys don't necessarily want to see that. And if you do need a step-by-step tutorial, you can go to the guest bathroom video and I'll link that down below for you. I have a step-by-step for every single thing that we did in there, including the toilet and the sink. But I think for this project, we're just going to bypass that and then go on to tomorrow morning, which will be the final reveal. We are almost there. I'm not going to say we've made it. I'm saying we're almost there. So we're going to take a break, install the toilet and the sink, and then I will see you guys in the morning. Well, today is reveal day and I couldn't be more thrilled. I am so excited to bring in all of the pretty stuff, the things that I've shopped and collected and saved specifically for this space. And I cannot wait to get them in. I'm just very, very excited about that. So last night, Mark and I went ahead and installed both the sink as well as the toilet. And believe it or not, it wasn't as easy as we thought it was going to be. In fact, we actually had to go back back to our guest bathroom renovation and remind ourselves what we needed to do. But now both of them are in. They look fantastic. And also what we did last night, we installed that shelf that I got from the thrift store in Ohio when I was visiting my parents. I'm telling you, that was the best find for the space, the best $10 I've ever spent. It looks so good and I cannot wait to get it all decorated. So for today, we need to go ahead and install the lighting. We've been without light in this room for over a month now. So I'm excited to get that up. Then we're gonna go ahead and bring in all of the decor. I'm gonna show you some before and afters. And during that time, I'm gonna go ahead and make a little cocktail. And then once the before and then the final reveal is over, then I'll come back on, chat with you guys a little bit longer, and then we'll wrap things up. So yay, we are here. We have finally made it, and I cannot wait to just cross that finish line. So let's start loading things in. Oh, that is so good. It is a grapefruit paloma with a thyme simple syrup, and I have been making them all summer long, and they are so refreshing and so good. I absolutely love them. Speaking of absolutely love, this room, what do you guys think? It is quite the transformation, right? There is not a single thing in this room that I would do differently, and that's the God honest truth. I am obsessed with every single thing, and I hope that you guys are too. If you've been following me for a while, you know that in my interior spaces, I always like to include 3 different elements within each space. One thing is there needs to be a statement piece. Another thing is, only because my interiors seem to kind of lean towards the masculine side, I always try to add in something girly or feminine to the space. And then the third is I always make sure that there's something old and vintage, antique in the space to just kind of ground it and give each space a little bit of character. So if I go through each of those 3 elements, my statement piece, 100% are the walls. I just love how they turned out. All of the time, hours and hours and weeks spent on this coved cut wood, I think it was absolutely worth it. Now, I mentioned this in my last newsletter, and I said if someone would ask me if I would do this coved wood paneling again, the answer is absolutely not. But then the more that I think about it and the more that I'm looking at it, you can never say never, because I really do love it and I can absolutely see it in another space of mine in the future. But right now, the answer is absolutely no, but I do love it, and I'm so glad that we went through the entire process because it's just stunning. And then the wallpaper, this wallpaper from Spoonflower, the moment that I saw it, I knew that it was going to be perfect for this space. Again, if you guys have been following along through this entire process, you know that I was going in a completely different direction than this wallpaper. But again, once I saw it, I knew that it had to be in this room. So those are my statement pieces for sure, definitely the walls. Then for something girly and feminine, I would say it's this pleated lamp. I saw this lamp on my Instagram feed one night when I was scrolling, and I saw it and immediately purchased it and knew that it had to go in this space. It was just something that I fell in love with immediately, and I purchased it. It was on back order, and luckily it arrived last week, and I'm just so thrilled with how it looks here on this vintage table. Now, if I'm being honest about this table, I kind of wish that it was a different color, and I maybe am thinking about stripping it and maybe staining it a lighter color. But then there's another part of me that kind of likes how it's a little understated and it kind of just falls back and allows the lamp to kind of be the showpiece in this little corner. So I just really love this lamp. And then another little girliness is the hand towel that I added in. You guys know I love pleats and ruffles and a little bit of fur, and that's typically how I go ahead and add in a little feminine energy into each of my spaces. And then for the third element, which is adding in a piece of vintage or antique, I mean, all over the place, honestly. This shelf, the best $10 I've ever spent in my life. I absolutely love it, and all of the things that are on top of that shelf. It's just, every time I've walked in this room today, I just smile, specifically looking at this shelf. So there's lots of pieces all over the place that are vintage. The table is vintage, all of the pieces, and let me just kind of pan the camera over just a little bit. All of these pieces I found either thrifting or are vintage, or have come from my friend Ashlyn's shop. I absolutely love these bowls that I picked up from her shop, Casabella Market, here in Durham, North Carolina. They are shipwreck pottery. They were actually found at the bottom of the ocean, and when she told me that, I was like, sold, absolutely. So bought those. I've had this little container for the longest time. It's probably one of my very first thrifted pieces once I moved here to Durham. I like to keep all sorts of things, but I just like to have little containers like this that can hold whatever we may need that you kind of want to hide away. These pottery pieces here came from a estate sale that my friend Rosalind and I went to a couple of weeks ago. The sellers were, they had a huge collection of Mexican pottery, and you guys know that Mexican pottery is just my thing. I love terracotta everything, and so when I saw those, that was an immediate grab. And again, there's another antique pottery piece that I have up there that I love. One thing that I didn't mention is in this space, different to so many of my other spaces, is that I did not include hardware that was silver or black. I went with unlacquered brass, and I love unlacquered brass because I just love the natural patina. Very similar to, it'll kind of patina just like this container here. And so everywhere that there is metal in this space, I have decided to include unlacquered brass. It is not cheap. None of the unlacquered pieces in this space are cheap, but I just knew that that's what I wanted. It's almost like the jewelry of the space, and I just can't wait to see just how it ages and patinas over the years. So there's several other pieces in this space outside of those three elements, although they do kind of still fit into those three elements that I mentioned before. But I kind of just want to show you guys around just a few more things, and then I promise we will go ahead and wrap up. So let me go ahead and turn around the camera. I got this painting from my friend Cameron. He actually thrifted this. He was out thrifting. He posted it on his stories, and when I saw it, I immediately DM'd him and asked him if I could buy it from him, and he allowed me to do that. And so I got this original painting, and then I had it framed professionally, and I just knew that once I had it, it's been upstairs in our hallway for quite a while, but then when I was kind of looking around the house for things that I could potentially put into this space, this picture was one of the first things that I grabbed because I just love how all of the colors kind of play with the colors in the wallpaper, and I absolutely love it. Now, I don't know if you guys remember this mirror, but I picked this up also in Ohio at the store near my parents' house called Found. And when I saw this mirror, I knew that it was going to be perfect for this space. I just absolutely love it. I love that it matches the wood that's down below, and I just think that it's the perfect shape and the perfect size for this space, and I'm so glad that I decided to go ahead and pick that up. And then in terms of the light, now if you guys were here from the very beginning, you know that I was originally going to put in a yellow, goldish, brownish color light, and it arrived. I actually ordered it. It arrived. It did not work, like at all. You guys are gonna laugh at the difference of size, but so this is this one. You guys just saw. And this is the one. Look, it basically takes up the whole screen. But it has like this, I don't know, what do you call that? Like an ombre look? Massive difference. I love them both, but let's see what they look like with the wallpaper. And when I saw this one, I just absolutely loved it. I ordered it from Etsy. It came from India. I was not sure because I think I ordered it maybe 3 weeks ago, and I wasn't sure if it was going to arrive on time, but it did. It came in like a week, which is insane, and I absolutely, oh my gosh, I love it. It's the perfect understated yet statement light for this space. So one of the things that was really important to me in this space, and actually in all of my spaces, was the scents that were going to be in this room. I'm constantly burning candles all of the time, and so I knew in this space I wanted to have its own unique scent. And so you guys saw when I installed the unlacquered brass soap dispenser that I put in my favorite hand soap ever. It's a brand by Aesop, and it's called Reverence. I love it because it has like a little grittiness to it, so it feels like you're exfoliating your hands when you wash them, and then when you dry them, your hands are just instantly moisturized. You don't have to put any moisturizer on your hands after washing them, and I love that. And then in terms of a room spray, this is the one that I ended up getting. I love it. It's by Diptyque. It was expensive. I'm not even gonna say the price on camera, but I will link it down below if you guys are interested. But it smells so good. It has just like the most unique scent. And the thing that I love about it most, three things actually. One, it's just pretty, and so it looks pretty on my table. But two, it literally hides every scent. Any scent that you can think of, and you know what I mean, it hides it. And not only does it hide it, number three is that it lasts for like 2-3 hours in the air. You'll come back in the room and it still smells like this. So yes, it was expensive, but to me, I feel like it was absolutely worth it. And the last thing, remember that brass canister that I found at Golden Oldies out in High Point, North Carolina? Well, I did a full video on my experience at that space. And when I saw that canister, I loved it immediately, but I just wasn't sure how I was going to use it in my home. So I left the store without it, got all the way home. I kept thinking about it and thinking about it. And in the comments to that video, all of you were telling me to go back and get it, and so I did. And when I was going back to get it, I just said to myself, I think that this is going to be the perfect canister trash can to put in my powder room once it's finished. And now that it's finished and the trash can is in this space, it fits perfectly with everything else, and I am obsessed with it and so glad that I went back and got it. So you guys, that is it. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this series, watching us build this room from scratch, from the tiling all the way up to the walls and the wallpaper, all the decor, just all of the bumps along the way. I'm so sorry for the delays. There were just so many unexpected things that happened that we just weren't expecting, and that definitely pushed back the timeline. But I appreciate your patience so much, and I hope that you think that the wait was worth it, because I certainly do. So I do want to say thank you, and oh my God, how do I have over 6,000 followers? When did that happen? I mentioned this in my last newsletter that I felt like I was just celebrating the 4,000 follower mark, and now here we are at over 6,000 followers, and I'm just so appreciative to each and every one of you, from the very first follower all the way to the 6,000 plus some. I appreciate each and every one of you for showing up here, for giving me grace, for commenting, for signing up for my newsletter, for just checking in on me, sending me emails. I really do appreciate you guys. I know that you have a million other people that you can follow and support like you do for me, and I do not take that for granted at all. And I thank you oh so much. So with that, I hope that you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I promise I will see you right back here next Sunday. Bye.